Hello, I'm Tim Harris. This is Julie Harris, and this is Real Estate Coaching Radio.
That's right. So make sure that you hit the subscribe button so you won't miss any future episodes. Thanks again for popping by. Hit that like button, and don't forget to leave your comments and questions so we can get right back with you.
We will. Thank you for continuing to make our podcast, Real Estate Coaching Radio, the #1 listened to podcast for real estate professionals in at least the United States. And let us know what you think about this video. Leave your comments below. Thank you.
3, 2, 1, and we're back. So you have a listing appointment scheduled for next week. And this listing appointment is with someone you sort of know, but not really. It's a referral from, let's say, somebody you know from church. You don't have a pre-listing pack. You have not pre-qualified. You sort of know through the grapevine why this seller may or may not be selling. Your mind is full of angst because you are so fearful of all the potential questions that seller is most likely going to ask you that you don't know the answers to, let alone might make you feel very defensive. That is the worst possible scenario when going into a listing appointment. You should never go into a listing appointment with that sense of, frankly, disorganization and lack of professionalism. So what we're going to share with you today is we're going to walk you through how to make it so that when you show up at that seller's house, and I'm not overselling this, guys, you just listen to what we have to share with you today. The seller will have already decided to list the house with you. Assuming you show up on time and you don't do something stupid while you're there, you're going to be getting the listing.
That's right. So when you're not prepared, you didn't pre-qualify, you didn't send a pre-listing package, especially when you don't already know that person, because if we're being honest, Tim, when you agree that most agents that are not listing agents on purpose, meaning you go after listings even with people you don't know, most of the time the listings they've had have been repeat clients, easy referrals, somebody that you're their only realtor relationship, that type of thing.
Anytime somebody says that they take every listing they go on, when I hear somebody say that,
Right.
And then you start drilling down, asking how many listings they took in the past 12 months, and what was the source of those listings, it's almost always from a center of influence and past client lead.
Almost always.
Which, by the way, that's fantastic. Good for you.
Yeah, keep doing that.
Right. But if you want to expand your business, because what you'll discover is just being focused primarily on centers of influence and past clients, for example, that definitely has its limitations. It's not a very scalable business model, because eventually those people are they're going to run dry real estate transactions.
It's true.
So a lot of you who are centers of influence and past clients, that's your main source of business, and I'm going off script here a little bit, but it's worth mentioning. You're going to discover in a market like this, you're going to suffer the most because you haven't learned, frankly, the sales skills to expand past the people, beyond the people who have already listed the property with you. So if you had, say, for example, 10 houses you listed and sold last year, in a market like this, you're going to be lucky if it's 3. Resonating with any of you? I bet it is. So if you want to keep your numbers growing every year, you need to learn how to actually start being more competitive. And in order for you to do that, you're going to have to, frankly, put yourself in a mental position where walking into that listing appointment, chances are you've already got the listing because you prepared prior to getting there, having thoroughly pre-qualified, having sent a pre-listing pack.
That's right. And if you're not feeling that way, it's probably because you're living in fear of objections. So let's start with our points here. Again, you're going to set more appointments faster and get more contracts signed when you know how to deal with these, when you have prepared ahead of time, you've got your pre-listing package. So today we're going to educate you, motivate you, and get you into action. Point number 1, you live in fear of them. What is an objection anyway? It's simply an unanswered question or questions in the mind of your prospect. Your job is to answer their question and move the conversation forward towards closing them for either an appointment or a signed contract, depending on the situation.
And by the way, sellers do not want to ask you questions, don't want to ask you, essentially pose to you objection type questions. If you're in an appointment, and just remember, just keep this in mind, if you're in a listing appointment and a seller is asking you a question that is confrontational, that is not something that's making them comfortable doing, unless they're a sociopath, which some of them will be.
Well,
right?
you should have known using a pre-qualification script.
Right.
But okay, so point number 2, the problem for most real estate agents is that you do all the research, all the preparation, then you show up to the listing appointment, present what you believe the prospect cares about, and then try to close. All the while, the seller or sellers are holding on to those unanswered questions, waiting for you to quit talking, and then they'll blast those objections at you right when you're trying to close. This in turn freaks you out and pisses you off internally and possibly them, leading to conflict that you live in fear of. That's how you end up walking out the door saying, thanks for your time, I'll follow up.
Now, you're going to a listing appointment next week. I said that, right? And you now are filling your mind with all the potential, the monsters that might be, underneath the couch when you sit at the listing appointment, right? And all those monsters are there and they're all waiting for you. And the only way to root all of those out is to actually follow a professional listing approach. Pre-qualify, send a pre-listing pack, do all the things that we suggest that you do. And be very clear, I'm sort of summarizing where we are so far. The seller does not want to have conflict with you. The seller does not want you coming to their house, and then they do not want to actually have to lock horns with you over your listing term, your marketing plan, your commission rate, the list price.
What makes you different?
Exactly. All these things that you guys are living in fear of having them ask you, the only way to remove, and they will ask you. And a lot of times they'll ask you questions that maybe you haven't even thought of because you don't have enough experience going on listing appointments. So what does that actually do? It makes it so you're on pins and needles when you're walking into the appointment. It makes it so that you're kind of freaked out. It makes it so you're just waiting for that damn appointment to be over so you can get out of that stressful situation. Seller feels the exact same way. So the point of sending the pre-listing pack ahead of time is the pre-listing pack is like your silent salesperson. It's going to remove that tension from ever actually forming prior to you getting to the seller's house.
That is point number 3. The solution, send your silent salesperson, that is your pre-listing package, prior to the listing. Remember, it's called a pre-listing package. That answers all the common objections for you, thus eliminating that conflict. A powerful, proven, and unique to you pre-listing package will make it so all you have to do really is discuss the price, answer a few questions, and have a very simple and logical close. Now, before we get to point number 4, because we're going to talk about a simple and logical close, here you make a good point, which the seller doesn't really want to get into all those questions with you. So what do sellers do to cut to the chase? They ask you to reduce your commission, right? And they ask for a shorter contract. And then your reaction to that is to overprice it so you can get the listing.
Exactly. That's the reason that agents, because they aren't going in with, all this. No, again, the real takeaway from all this is you don't want to have that ridiculous amount of stress and pressure. That's probably the reason why you're not chasing more sellers, or one of the reasons, right? And the other being you haven't earned the right to be a listing agent yet because you haven't actually, frankly, honed your skills to the level where the sellers are going to want to list with you. The pre-listing pack, again, will do most of that work for you. But most importantly, remember, you're here to be of service to other people. One of the greatest ways you can be of service to other people, we talked about this the other day on this podcast, is you can make it so the seller, when meeting with you, doesn't have to feel under pressure to ask you questions and be confrontational. Most people do not want to be confrontational ever in their lives. They want to avoid it. They don't want to act. Now, let's say maybe you do know them socially, or you're their neighbor, or you know them from, T-ball. They don't want to actually get into it with you. They don't.
Especially in those cases.
Right. And so what they actually might do, and this is the reason that centers of influence and past client type agents, the reason you guys are, I think, over-assumptive that you're going to get the appointment, if it's a market that's changing and the seller's not confident the house is going to sell, the seller actually is going to want to make sure they're not just listing with someone they know and like, that they're listing with somebody actually that they're confident can get the house sold, and they don't want to even give you a shot at taking the listing, not because they don't like you, it's because they don't want to actually have to spoil their relationship with you because they are fearful that the listing process itself, putting the house for sale and pricing it correctly, is going to be a bit adversarial. You guys get it? So especially those of you who are based on centers of influence and past clients, actually get your game on, you're always going to be, frankly, you're going to be stuck and you're not going to move forward. And a lot of you this is a very typical coaching client that comes to us. Mm-hmm. I've been selling 25 houses per year forever.
Right. And
it's almost always centers of influence and past clients.
Very heavy on that end. Yeah.
And when we have somebody that shows up in our business like that, and they're an elite coaching client, someone that's maybe being coached by Julie, and let's say their average sale price is really nice, but it's still 25 a year, 25 units a year. Some of you guys are like, hell yeah, I'll take 25. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Well, especially if it's a high sale price. Well, where does that business come from? It's almost always listing heavy, usually 15 listing sides and like 10
Typically.
buyer sides.
Yep.
And usually not buying any business or getting any, paid referrals. It's all from,
it's fair. Yeah.
And that's a nice business to have.
Absolutely.
But you will get to the point where you're going to want to start, expanding your skill set. Now, I want to roll back ever so slightly, not to slow the pace. But Julie said this, and I want you guys to be really clear about it. And the only reason I'm thinking of this is because I was on our private members Facebook page, and I saw agents trying to debate what the name for the pre-listing pack should be. The pre-listing pack is called the pre-listing pack because when you send it to the seller's house, it actually says pre-listing package on the, that is what it is. That's what you should refer it to as, because it's very clearly something they should be reading prior to pre-listing the house with you. You get it? So if you think of these little nice softy names because you don't want to be too assumptive, or you're thinking that the term pre-listing package is too pushy, you're missing the point.
Well, what that is an indication of is them not being confident in the pre-qualification, because the only reason you would want to soften a name like pre-listing package is because you're afraid that by calling it that, you're going to freak them out that you're going there to take the listing.
Exactly, which is what you're going there to do, right? And by the way, obviously, you guys can join Premier Coaching right now for free. Just scroll down if you're on iTunes or if you're on YouTube or any of the other, Spotify. We're everywhere. Amazon Music, we're on Apple, everywhere. And just scroll down and click the link to join Premier Coaching. It is free to join right now. Or if you prefer, you can just go to premiercoaching.com. Premiercoaching.com, from what we're told, is the #1 coaching program in the United States. There's a reason that thousands of agents are joining Premier Coaching, because it works in all market conditions and all price ranges. So just go to premiercoaching.com, and yes, right now you can join for free. And that does include a daily semi-private coaching call. Why would you wait, especially given the direction the market is headed? You absolutely positively need to get your skills on. Don't wait 90 days or even 30 days, because you're going to be thinking back to hearing me say what I just did, and you're going to say, I wish I would have joined so I knew how to solve this situation. You're going to get a call as soon as you're done listening to today's show for our listing appointment next week, and you're going to go, holy, what have you, I don't have a pre-listing pack, I haven't pre-qualified, I'm not ready, and you're all of a sudden going to start getting super nervous, super scared because you're ill-prepared, because you're living in fear of not winning that listing. Don't have that happen to you, guys. Come on.
Yeah, you know what they say to themselves? I hope they like me.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all you got. All right, so point number 3. I'm going to repeat number 3 because it leads to number 4. The solution to all this is to send your silent salesperson your pre-listing package prior to the listing, because that answers all the common objections for you, eliminating the conflict. A powerful, proven, and unique to you pre-listing package will make it so all you have to do is discuss price, answer a few questions, and have a very simple and logical close. That leads us to point number 4. The definition of close is that it is the logical ending to a great presentation. If you didn't have a great presentation, that's when the seller was hanging on to their questions and objections the whole time, and then closing is uncomfortable and awkward. Well, when you do have a great presentation, starting with sending your pre-listing package, really starting with the pre-qualification, then the pre-listing package if it's appropriate, that answers their questions before you even show up, and then closing is so easy you won't even believe it.
And by the way, we do have a listing presentation that, soup to nuts, is only going to last 15 to 20 minutes. So make sure if you're in Premier Coaching, you're using it. Julie, on Premier Coaching, is it called the Sharpie Close?
That is part of the listing presentation, yes.
Okay, it's part of the listing presentation. So make sure you're using that. Again, the Sharpie Close aspect, I won't go through it on today's podcast. Premier Coaching members, log into Premier Coaching, listen to the audios. We've done it. Look to see. It's very, very simple. There's nothing elaborate about anything. Look, you will not find a single thing in any of Premier Coaching, in any of the things that Julie and I coach to, that is not simple, elegant, to the point, BS free. We're not going to tell you about complicated funnels and having to learn how to optimize this and optimize that. Yes, that stuff has a place in your real estate business. And yes, we do offer that in Premier Coaching, but your primary focus is learning the sales skills necessary so that when you do get that lead, you're unbelievably enthusiastic and excited, because you know you have almost a 0 chance of not taking that listing at your price, at your commission. You guys get it? That comes from, guess what? Knowledge equals confidence, and ignorance equals fear. Hopefully we're exposing some of you to the fact that you do indeed have lots of ways that you can get better. Be excited about that. Don't be intimidated by it.
Think about how much more excited you'll be to not just go on listings that you get randomly, but to actively pursue new listing inventory.
I will never forget. I even remember in my head, I can visualize them right now. You and I had a big 4-drawer file cabinet, a metal one. Yep. And I remember when we finally, it took us like 3 years to really make the pre-listing pack. And this was back, when we were selling real estate. And I remember I had a stack of them made.
Yes.
There may be like 30 of them.
Yep.
There were a ton. Mm-hmm. And I remember every time we walked into our office, seeing those and being excited.
Absolutely, because you knew there was going to be a listing attached.
Well, not just that. I knew, yes, that. But the real reason was because that right there was not, to Julie's point, right? There's 30 future sellers. But what it really was is reminding me that those pre-listing packs are doing no good sitting on that file cabinet.
Yes.
Get off my butt, proactively lead generate, so then you can send that out and have your silent salesperson go to work.
Get 'em out.
And what really made it exciting is because I knew those damn things worked.
I know, and I hear this from our elite coaching clients. I mean, I hear that personally because those are my elite coaching clients, but also I hear from the coaches, I hear from the premier coaching members. All they need to do is have that first victory where that listing presentation went so much more smoothly. It was textbook. You weren't there forever. I had a new premier coaching member send me an email, and I was so heartfelt. I mean, I was really glad that they joined Premier. It was exactly for this purpose. And he said, I knew that I needed to join and get my pre-listing package done because my last listing presentation, he said, it took me. He said, I was there 4 hours. I was handling objections the best I could. I felt like I was struggling. I tried to bond with them. I tried to talk to them about their cat and their dog. And finally, I gave up. He said, finally, I didn't know what else to do to get out. He said, I gave up, and I confess that I overpriced and undercommissioned because I didn't know what else to do.
Well, that's the whole reason you and I created the pre-listing pack. That, and we had somebody else going on appointments with us. Or for us, rather. It's because we did not want to be there that long because we got too busy going on listing appointments.
Nor does the seller want you to be there that long.
That's the real thing you guys have to understand. The seller really is, you might be best friends with them. They don't want you in their house. Most times you're meeting with sellers after they've had a long day at work dealing with all the personal stuff and all the professional stuff. Mm-hmm. They don't want you in the house. They want you to just wind their day down and, move on with their lives, right? You're there. You're a bit of an alien in their, comfortable, convenient environment. No, obviously not in every case, but that is usually how it plays out. Because of the fact that you pre-qualified, because of the fact that you're taking a responsible, respectable control of the process, they feel that you know what the hell you're doing, and you, by the way, sent this killer pre-listing pack, which eliminates all of the objections they would have possibly had for you. Why should I list with you? What's your marketing plan? How do you give back in the community? Julie's going to share with some of those points.
That's the next point. Yes, and what do they say? They say, I feel like I already know you. You already answered all of my questions.
What's your communication guarantee? What's your guaranteed home sale program? All of this is in the pre-listing pack.
That's right. So point number 5 is your pre-listing package handles all those common objections that you live in fear of, like, is your commission flexible? Do I have to be stuck in a contract? What makes you different? How do I know that you'll do what you promised to do? Gotten any testimonials? All of those things. What makes you different? You're going to already have answered that when you show up.
And if you're with us at eXp Realty, you're also going to have, do you sell luxury homes? Are you luxury certified? Do you work, for example, with, maybe in some markets you're going to find a lot of military relocation. eXp Realty does that. You might find, do you work international? eXp is in 24 different countries. All these different types of things. Your brokerage experience, wherever you guys are now, is going to be slightly different. So you're going to, in some cases, want to modify some of the pages internal to the pre-listing pack. But for the most part, you just personalize the pre-listing pack, your phone number, your name, all that. But do not change the content of the actual pages, and do not change, this is the main thing, I'm saying this mostly to Premier Coaching clients, do not change the format of the pre-listing pack. Yep. There's an art and a science to the reason that the pages are indexed inside the folder that the way they are. I keep on mentioning eXp Realty. Yes, Julie and I are proudly associated with eXp Realty. Many of you are on your way to moving up to being part of eXp Realty. At eXp Realty, one of the things they encourage you to do is have a sponsor. That's an existing agent that actually will shepherd you into eXp Realty and frankly help you to be successful at eXp Realty. Julie and I are formally applying for the job of being your eXp Realty sponsors. And we made it very easy for you to move forward. Just text the letters EXP to 47372. Text the letters EXP to 47372. And we'll text you back a website. And that's all the information as to why you will most likely want to join with Julie and I at eXp Realty. Or if you're ready to join and you're ready to choose your sponsor and you've pretty much decided you want it to be Julie and I, maybe you've seen the information on the website, or maybe you're just a longtime podcast fan. Maybe you've been associated with us for decades, as many of you have. Text me directly, 512-758-0206. 512-758-0206. 512-758-0206. And let's have a conversation about you moving forward with Julie and I at eXp Realty. It is the next natural step. If this is the reason that so many of these teams and these luxury agents and these big brokerages and small and medium-sized brokerages and teams, or especially, new agents, single agents, it's the next natural step. It's the place where here's the simplest way of explaining it. You guys can tell I get overly excited about this, so I apologize. But eXp Realty is publicly traded. I had someone text me the other day and ask information about the revenue share and how can they afford to pay all that money considering this and the other thing. Well, guess what? EXP is publicly traded. They're on the NASDAQ. You can actually go and research EXPI. You can read their financials, and what you'll discover is EXP is the only, if not one of the only companies of its size that's actually growing in agent count and profit, not just revenue. Look at all these companies that love to brag about their revenue, but they're losing tons of money. EXP is growing on all the most important fronts: agent count, revenue, and net profit. There's only one company that I know of that has 90,000 agents that's growing at that rate. It's eXp Realty. So if you're just getting started and you want more information, text the letters EXP to 47372, EXP to 47372. Or if you're ready to land the plane and you want to move forward and join with Julie and I, text me directly at 512-758-0206. Remember, when texting EXP to 47372, message and data rates may apply.
Now, we have to wrap up by addressing this last point. Some of you are going, well, my broker supplies me with a pre-listing package.
You and all the other agents in your office and all the other agents that ever worked there have the exact same pre-listing package.
Yep, cookie cutter. But that doesn't answer what makes you different. It just answers what makes you the same. The same as every other agent in your brokerage. You need a personalized pre-listing package highlighting your unique selling propositions and your USPs so that you're in the clear. You are sorry, tongue-tied, unquestionable choice, which is how it works when you have the personalized pre-listing package. So today we educated you on why you live in fear of those objections. Now you've got to be motivated enough to take action and get your pre-listing package personalized and polished before it's too late.
I want you to drill down on the last point Julie just read to you because it's really important. People, I say 20 years ago, and even then it was a minority at the time, sellers were hiring agents based on the company that they worked for. One of the things that eXp Realty does, frankly, I think this is one of the reasons that Julie and I aligned with them about 5 years ago, was they know that the agent is the brand. They don't try to dominate you. When you join with eXp, you join with your colors, your brand, your logo, your phone number, your all of those things, right? State specific. But the reality of it is eXp doesn't try to dominate you. They don't care if you're using red, white, and blue, if you're using red, or if your font style is this, your font style is that. You are the reason that you are successful or not successful. So what Julie just said, point number 6, when you send your pre-listing pack, the seller already has the expectation that they're hiring the individual agent, not the brokerage. You guys get the difference? Now, again, it was barely true when Julie and I were selling real estate that people would be care about the brand. Like barely true. Yeah. But now nobody cares about the brand. Older people, say for example, maybe, I don't know, late 60s, early 70s, maybe older, they might actually care about major brands. It's not just in real estate. I'm going to buy a Ford. I'm going to buy a Chevy. I'm going to buy this or that, right? They might be brand loyal, but are you brand loyal, dear listener? There's very few things.
Most people aren't.
We're brand loyal to very few things.
Yes.
And it's because a lot of this, a lot of the products themselves have become ubiquitous. They're fungible. They're easily replaced with something else. But you are not, listener. You are unique. The skills, the service, what you provide in what you demonstrate with the pre-listing pack is what will make them want to list with you. You are the product. A lot of you guys used to use the word brand, and indeed, you are the brand, you are the product, you are the provider. What you're doing, sending your pre-listing pack, it is your silent salesperson that's doing all the heavy lifting for you prior to you getting there. You guys get it? This is the reason why some of you are, when you get this, when the bells go off in your head, when you see the, light at the end of the tunnel, and you get why maybe you've been holding yourself back from really moving forward as a listing agent. Now maybe you're going to move past that. You're going to be a proactive lead generator. You're going to learn to pre-qualify. You're going to send the pre-listing pack. You're going to learn to present. You're going to learn to negotiate, close. When you get really good at those things, then you're going to be incredibly excited and motivated every single day, like you cannot believe, to focus on being a powerful listing agent. That is the greatest gift you can give to yourself. And none of the things that I just suggested you focus on are difficult or overly complicated or analytical, don't require spreadsheets or dry erase boards with one, circle blob pointing to another. No Venn diagrams, nothing like that. This is very simple.
That's right. And yet, even though it's very simple, it's also extremely critical. Here's how I test agents on this. On coaching calls, okay, or at live events, what have you. If I am a seller and I ask you what makes you different, okay, and we do this on coaching calls, one of two things happens. And I time it, actually. The agent will go on and on and on and on and on and on and on with a massive run-on sentence about how they have a pipeline of buyers and they do all this online stuff and they're good at social media and they've got lists of this and lists of that and they use QR codes and blah, 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 and they can barely take a breath. And I think the record that I've recorded on that is about 4.5 minutes of talking.
And the worst thing, I have this many people that are following me on Facebook. This many people are following me on Instagram. I've got a YouTube channel. I'm the mayor of my town, right? That means nothing to a seller.
And how is that different than asking the next agent? They're all going to blather on about that stuff too. What makes you different? Now, that's one reaction, which tells me they need the pre-listing package because you should be able to be better at that. And secondly, they'll say nothing because they've never really thought about what makes them different, because they've been relying on their friends and family, their center of influence. They've been pretty lucky. They've survived in real estate long enough, but they've never actually taken seriously, why specifically am I going to hire you versus the agent that sold me the house versus Bob that I golf with? What makes you different? And if, dear listener, you can't answer that, or if your answer is blah, blah, blah and sounds like everybody else, this is where the growth needs to be. Again, you said it's very simple. It is. None of this is difficult, but it's so critical. It can be the difference between being stuck wherever you're stuck, doing your deals with your buyers. Maybe you're paying for all of your business. You're stuck. How are you going to get to the next level if you can't actively pursue and build your own listing inventory?
So Julie just dropped a whole bunch of truth bombs on all of you guys, and I'll tell you where my mind went. I love Charlie Munger quotes.
Yes.
I do. And there's probably 10 Instagram accounts that I follow that are just basically Charlie Munger quotes.
Yep.
I'm listening
great.
to The Towel of Charlie Munger right now. There's another one I got. So why? Why do I love Charlie Munger quotes? Because his knowledge is coalesced into usually no more than 10 words. So in other words, he's taken the complex and he's made it very simple. And so when you're listening to what he's saying, like, Charlie, what stock should I buy? Should I have 50 different stocks? Should I invest in index funds? Should I da 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 da? He said, nope. You invest in no more than maybe 5 or 6 different major companies. And he has very specific rules. And then he then will focus in on, he's buying Coca-Cola. He's buying Costco. Why is he buying those companies? For very simple, what is my point that I'm trying to share with you guys? The more complicated something is to explain, the less likely it is to work. The more complicated an idea is, the less likely it is to work. The more moving parts, or as our friend Elon Musk says, the more threat vectors something has, the less likely it is to work. And as you mature in business, as you mature in life, you're going to realize the things that fail on you are the things that are complicated. Things don't have to be complicated. There's something innate in all of us that for some reason tries to make things more complicated. People seem to be attracted to the complicated, but the complicated is what's going to fail you. The simple, the getting to the point, is what actually is going to cause you to be successful consistently, because it's an easy to master thing. Thus the Charlie Munger quote. When you're reading a quote by Charlie, it's a very direct, to the point, obvious thing that he's trying to say, and he's not trying to explain it over, like I said earlier, a Venn diagram or something that's overly analytical, or some white paper or some 10-step process. It's a very simple to understand concept. If you're finding yourself struggling in your business or your personal life, do as Charlie Munger does and really drill down and getting to the basics of why you're in real estate, which is to be of service to other people, which is to make money, which is to become more successful, which is to provide a vehicle for your self-fulfillment and your professional fulfillment. All those things are true, but the essence of why you're in this business is really what I just said, is to be of service to other people. If that becomes your dominant North Star, I'm here to help you, listener. Julie and I do this podcast, for hours every single week. We have thousands of past podcasts. Yes, of course, we want to have you as a coaching client, or we want to have you join with us at EXP, or, work with one of our other partners that we have occasionally on this podcast that we feature. Of course, those things are true. We make money from that, but that's not our primary driver. Our primary driver is providing you information that puts you in a position to feel educated, motivated, so then ultimately you'll get into action. A lot of you discover this podcast and you will like it, you'll feel educated, and maybe you'll feel motivated. But some of you, it takes a long time for you to actually get into action with any of the information. That's because you're making it too complicated. Something inside of you does not like or cannot deal with the fact that we're just asking you to do very simple, normal human activities like talking to people. That's what it really comes down to. You want to go to some webinar and learn some 14-stage funnel and, install ClickFunnels with a whole bunch of, Facebook, this is and the other things, and optimize your ads. Guys, think of all the ways you can fail doing that. Think of all the ways, all the things that can break. Think of all the little nuanced things you have to have work correctly for you to even generate any kind of lead from all those sort of things. Whereas with what we're asking you to do, have you noticed how simplistic it is? Have you noticed how frankly obvious it is? Have you noticed that when you're listening to Julie and I, you feel less stressed? I know this is true because we read your positive comments on iTunes. Have you noticed when you listen to Julie and I, you do feel motivated? Why do you feel motivated? We're not going out of our way to try to motivate you. We're certainly not going to be motivational, mindset types. That is not in our wheelhouse. You feel motivated because you see yourself doing the real work of real estate, and that excites the hell out of you because you can see yourself being of service to other people. You can feel yourself helping someone accomplish their goal of buying or selling real estate. Oh, and by the way, you're going to get paid.
That's right. And you know what's really cool about real estate? It's so predictable and duplicatable once you unlock a certain series of things. When I'm coaching agents, I actually have this vision in my mind of these boxes that are behind lock and key, right? Like scripts. That's like this bag of scripts or this cabinet of scripts, right? And I have the key, and if I do a good job as a coach and I turn that key and unlock that for you guys, and we try to do this at a high level on the podcast, but we don't go as deep.
This is just training. This is not coaching.
Yes, and you also take your key and you put it into the scripts box and you turn it and you go, now I get it. I get this. This is so exciting. I know how to, I realize, I hear this all the time. This is a big thing. I realize that the appointments I've been going on, the people I've been trying to convert into business are not real business because I wasn't using pre-qualification scripts and I was trying to get somebody to transact that either wasn't ready, wasn't qualified, wasn't motivated, or all of the above. And now we've unlocked that.
Okay, so I'm about to coalesce Julie's, what she just said is Charlie Munger would. If you generate the lead, you do not have to tolerate the essentially the frustration of having to convert a lot or how to convince a lot of people that aren't really truly going to buy or sell with you.
Because they're not really leads.
Right. You guys get it? If you generate leads, you do not have to tolerate the frustration and the burnout and frankly the failure that's associated with so many real estate agents. Generate, do not have to tolerate.
That's right. And then over here we have this cabinet full of listing skills. Turn the key, unlock those listing skills, and now you actually want to go on listing presentations. You're excited about it. You think to yourself, gosh, you know what? I hope I don't get any objections, but now that I know how to deal with them, bring it on. I'm okay. I can close because I got a great presentation. I know I'm going to take this listing.
Guys, this is the funny. Julie's triggering all these memories for me.
Sorry, I should have let you wrap it up.
No, it's fine. No, I was just thinking that, yes, what you just said, so funny because I've had coaching clients who were living in fear of becoming listing agents. Mm-hmm. And because of all the normal objections, they then used the pre-listing pack. And let's say a seller then asked the question that was already answered in the pre-listing pack, but the seller just wanted to maybe just ask some question like,
sure,
if maybe it's about the communication guarantee, or maybe it's about this, whatever it is, all the things are. So agents who are prepared, who have sent a pre-listing pack, are excited to get objections.
Yes.
Now, the problem that they then have when they're new at this is they get overly excited and like I am right now.
Suggest the objection?
Yeah, just right. Where they'll try to, because they kind of like, okay, yeah, I'm Mike Tyson and you're just some gnat. Let's go, baby. Let's hear your objections. Well, obviously that's not a good approach. So you got to slow yourself down. You got to take a breath. Mr. Seller, I really appreciate you asking that question. And then you answer the question calmly and in control. And that's, again, something you're coached to know how to do. But yeah, that's what happens. You're going to go from living in fear of objections to knowing that you have the skill set to overcome any objection and any combination of objections or questions that seller might have for you. That is the next level that we hope and we pray that all of you are going to be willing to move forward and to embrace. That is what coaching is all about. Just go to premiercoaching.com or click on one of the links that are in the show description. In the meantime, you guys have a fantastic day. We'll talk with you on the show tomorrow.
Hello, thank you for having watched this video. Please remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel.
That's right, and don't forget to hit that like button, leave your comments and questions below, and we will get right back with you.
Thank you for watching this video, and remember to watch the next one. You're going to love that one.